All right, so you know how we do here. It's always about cause and effects. Cause and effects, right? So to always help us keep things into perspective, we always think cause and effects. So think about how Charlemagne will illustrate his cause and effects in comparison to how Kwame illustrates his cause and effects, right? It's pretty simple. Again, if you're trying to get a better understanding as far as what cause and effects are, well, you more so want to just pay attention to the combination of words that these individuals are using to articulate and express themselves. Now, anyone then will then agree based upon how these individuals has been highlighting and bringing awareness to things that's happening within our community, and to be specific, the black community, right? Now, on one hand, you will have one individual say it from a perspective to where emotionally you will say this person incites racial tension, right? And then on the other hand, you will then say this other individual highlights things from a perspective to where it's more so empowering as far as, hey, we understand these are the things that's going on right now, but as opposed to saying, what are we going to do? Well, let's actually take action and let's do for ourselves in this regards, right? So you got to just look at the messaging. You got to understand the intent behind the messaging. And then once you could understand that, then it'll be easier for you to then put these things into a perspective as far as cause and effects. And then now you can understand why it's very important for us to always redirect such conversations to always shed light to the real cause, which is pretty simple. Again, people, it's all about freedom. Now, why is that important? You see, while we sometimes get too caught up into the effects of things, right? All we're doing is just prolonging that thing that we all desire, which is what? Freedom. Now it's simple. If we simply just all as a collective came together and just simply focus on that, then guess what? It will just be that, as just as simple as obtaining that, and then all of these other things that we have in terms of things that we like to obtain, our desires. Guess what? If freedom is not achieved first, those things, which in this particular scenario will then be perceived as effects, will never happen, because why? The cause, again, is still not being addressed. Again, this is Life First. Till the next one.
His fucking eyes turned, and he did. And this was before he knew about any of this shit.
Right.
So we actually did it live. But one of the things that he shared with me, and I want to ask you if you agree with this, he said that not all Hollywood celebrities are Satan worshippers. He's saying that the A-listers are.
Mm-hmm.
They have to abide by certain indoctrinations and so on to cut the line to get to the top. But he said there are a lot of celebrities that aren't really a part of that, the Luciferian system. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's true, but I don't really care what you are and what you are not a part of. If you see some crazy shit going on and you don't warn me, you my enemy, because you gonna let me walk. Listen here, if I know that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre lived down the road, and I see you walking down the road, and I don't say, "Hey, Joseph, don't go down that motherfucking road," I might as well have sent you to his house. So my main thing is you don't get a pass for sitting around Satanists. You don't get a pass for that. It's certain things you get a pass for sitting around. If I'm at your house and let's I don't know, I'm not in your personal business. I'm gonna make something up. If you married and I come to your house and your side chick call, I'm gonna mind my motherfucking business. I'm not gonna cover for you, but I'm not gonna tell on you either. I'm gonna just be like, shit. I mean, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's you. Handle your
That's business. A hypothetical situation.
Hypothetical. I'm not going. I mean, but that's small. But if I'm at your fucking house and you got kids chained up in the fucking basement, I'm not gonna act like I don't see that. So my main thing is, you don't get no points for knowing that crazy shit is going on and either not stopping in or not doing something to prevent it. I never called 9. Listen here. I have never, ever in my life weaponize the police on a nigga I don't like, a person I don't like. But if I ever in my life find out that you are human trafficking kids, I'm calling the police. I don't give a fuck what somebody say about me. I don't give a fuck if they say, yo, Young Pharaoh was on the 911 call, that shit on TMZ. I'm gonna be right on there like, officer, that motherfucker was at 555 and he took some kids in there. Or I like, no. So I feel like these celebrities have to wear their shame. You have to wear your shame. You're not about to come back over here to the general public and act like, well, I ain't have nothing to do with it. You had everything to do with it. The world pauses when, let me tell you how important I understand children to be.
Hello. Donkey of the day for Tuesday, June 15th goes to Lara Trump. Who is Lara Trump? She is the daughter-in-law of the former twice impeached celebrity-in-chief of the United States of America. And it's safe to say Fox News is willing to use the Trump name for ratings, regardless if there's a Donald in front of it or not. Okay, if it bleeds, it leads. If it's Trump, ratings jump. Hey, let's just be honest with each other, okay? Whether you agree or disagree with anything that comes out of a Trump's mouth, they move the needle, okay? I don't even know what that means, but it's provocative. It gets the people going. And Lara Trump is no different, okay? She was on Fox News, and her appearance, well, it got the people going. What was she talking about? Well, she was discussing border security. And what did she say? Well, let's just say she chose violence for 500, Alex. Let's go to Fox News for the report.
Disgraceful to see. And I don't know what you tell the people that live at the southern border. I guess they better arm up and get guns and be ready. And maybe they're going to have to start taking matters into their own hands. It should never happen. These people should never make this dangerous journey here.
Let's listen to that one more time. She's talking about border security, okay, and then what she thinks should happen to migrants, I guess. Listen.
And I don't know what you tell the people that live at the southern border. I guess they better arm up and get guns and be ready. And maybe they're going to have to start taking matters into their own hands. It should never happen. These people should never make this dangerous journey here.
This is where we are.
What?
This is where we are.
That is awful.
This is who we are.
That is disgusting.
This is what we are. America got to stop lying to yourself. I know. We love to say America was built on faith and freedom, but the reality is America was built on violence. Good old-fashioned white violence. There's a great book written by Herbert Shapiro titled White Violence and Black Response from Reconstruction to Montgomery. And in the book, Herbert speaks on the fact that we are taught that America is a society based on respect for the law and orderly procedures, and that the Constitution stands as a safeguard of individual freedom, and the courts and the police are supposedly established to enforce the law. When a controversial issue arises in the American fabric, it is to be resolved not in the streets, but through the democratic processes of elections. I think we all have been alive enough to know that this may be true for some, but not for everybody. Okay. Herbert Shapiro also says in the book, the courts have most often stood silent in the face of racist violence, or have turned their wrath against the victims, not the perpetrators. The police have protected the mob rather than the mobbed, and have often either aided the lynchers or displayed amazing inability to identify them. Where race is concerned, legislative or judicial action to deal with controversial issues has often come late and been partial in nature, while white violence has continued to terrorize black Americans without hindrance. This is true, but it's not just true for black Americans. The same rule applies for anyone who isn't white. And Lara Trump just proved that. This is why I'm talking about Herbert Shapiro's book this morning, because this is what he's talking about. Violence generated by white racism and news media and other institutions that fail to educate Americans about the oppressive social conditions that have root in these criminal acts. Okay, Herbert also discusses the irony of America associating violence as a behavior of black people, when we all know in the history of America, white racism has generated more violence than anything black people have ever done or thought about doing. By the way, can you imagine if a black broadcaster got on TV and said that black people need to pick up arms and take matters into their own hands in regards to anything we don't like? What's crazy is the migrants aren't doing anything but seeking a better life. It's not like they're coming across the border and breaking into people's homes that live on the border, at least not that I know of. If that was the case, by all means, protect yourself, protect your family, protect your home. That's what the Second Amendment is for. That's why I say when you're black, owning a legal firearm in America is a form of self-care. But Lara Trump didn't tell people to take up arms because they are under attack or because their lives are being threatened. She's simply telling folks to take up arms because she doesn't want migrants crossing the border. Imagine if I told black people or any oppressed group they better arm up and get guns and be ready, and maybe they will have to take matters into their own hands. It's to take matters in your own hands part. Do you realize what would happen if oppressed people in this country ever took up arms and took matters in their own hands, since the government and other institutions in this country have never wanted to give us real justice? Can you imagine this type of call to action geared towards white supremacy and racist institutions in America? Can you imagine a black or Latino person on TV calling for oppressed people to get guns and take matters in their own hands in regards to a group of people? Oof. What's crazy about this is, it's a blatant, direct call to shoot migrants crossing the border. But if someone at the border was to actually take Lara Trump's advice, she would say she didn't mean it like that. She would blame it on fake news, even though we all heard her. You know, the privileged amongst us don't do accountability. And what Lara Trump did is stochastic terrorism at its finest, the public demonization of a person or group resulting in the incitement of a violent act. Okay, Lara Trump knows exactly what she's doing and why she's doing it. Matter of fact, play the clip again, Drum. Let's play it one more time.
Is fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't it be better if all you men can stand up, have your own opinion without being shouted down? Because an opinion is not a fact, but an opinion is the way to get ideals out there so that we can now have the conversation. But what's happening now, the moment you say an opinion that's outside of what the powers that be want it to be, somehow you're supposed to lose your job. You're supposed to not be able to take care of your family. Any other works that you've done prior to that don't make difference, because somehow you're a devil, because either you disrespect all race of people, all women. You could be talking about one particular person and they want to join it into a group and demonize you, and you're supposed to lose your whole livelihood because of that. You want to live in a place like that? Or should we go back to the basis where your opinion is your opinion and we all should be able to share it? Even if we say it in a rude way, I could just walk off and not deal with you. The sensitive shit got to stop. The sensitive shit got to stop. We can't even have an objective opinion anymore. And I notice the most educated people are the people who talk the less. You guys are the most rudest. Some of you, not all, especially Dr. Boyce, you are rude, condescending son of a bitch. You disrespect everybody. You almost set it up like if anybody had the nerve to disagree with you because you're a PhD, you say that shit every other 30 seconds. Because you're a doctor, if you don't understand me, you're just a dumbass and you're not in my 10%, stupid. This is only for this. Like the way you sound, the way you flick your hand. You shouldn't do that. It's not the way you talk to no man. You can tell you ain't been around men. And you changed since you got married, boy. You a little spicy. But you ain't really changed. You just talking. She probably telling you what to say. Stop talking. Please stop talking to your husband, ma'am. It's making him not look like a man amongst men, which he already was not looking so great. But now it's looking worse. We can tell you sound like a woman, boy. But let me get off this thing, man. I just want all y'all to just think, man. Open up your minds and open up your eyes and start seeing what's going on and think. Go back and start looking at all the stories that the media have been putting out. Look at how they talk about the same scenarios and look at the outcomes between the guys who's connected to all these different groups.